Welcome back to today's Premier Experts. I'm your host, Ray Perez, and today my special guest is Ryan Gunness, the lead generation specialist. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I'm super excited for this interview because I've known you for a very long time. I've watched you grow in your career and your life, and I'm just so excited for you to share your experience and your knowledge with our guests. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, can you share with our audience, how did you get started?
Yeah, so I was born in a small island in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm the oldest. I have two sisters, two younger sisters. And we grew up, we were average family. We didn't grow up with a lot. And around 15 or so, I ended up migrating to New York. And it was a rough transition, coming from a small island to Trinidad, from Trinidad to New York, and having a strong accent, and really didn't have a lot of money at all. So very shortly after that, I ended up living on my own. So my family ended up moving to California, and there was just a lot of stuff going on, and I was on my own. And I picked up the knack for cutting hair. So I was cutting hair, finishing up high school, made some friends that way, and then got a job part-time in a barbershop while I was finishing up high school. And then I went full-time right after high school, and a couple years later, I actually opened up my own little barbershop.
Wow, you had your own, like an actual physical location. Yeah. Really? How many barbers did you have in there?
We had 4 chairs.
4 chairs, nice,
4 chairs.
All right.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, learned a lot. I was cutting over 125 haircuts a week.
Wow.
From high-level CEOs to drug dealers on the street.
Wow.
So getting that chance to interact with people and learn perspective and hear different things, I started to pick up some common themes that people were saying, and I was just very interested in how people think, what their goals were and whatnot, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So one of my customers introduced me to network marketing, so they invited me to an opportunity, and it was the first time that I seen that it was possible to actually have income and revenue through a different model than I cut hair, I make money.
Exchanging hours for dollars.
Correct.
Wow.
And I remember he was drawing these circles, 3, get 3, get 3. And I literally, I couldn't sleep for like 3 days. Because I was like, this math works. It was like, but is this real? Can I really do this? Yeah. And it really stuck with me through my highs and lows throughout the next several years.
Wow, that's so, I love it because a barber can make really good money, right? And most of it is cash.
Yes.
But it literally is trading hours for dollars, because if you're not there in the shop cutting hair, you're not getting paid.
100%.
So yeah, you can make a lot of money, but you have to work really hard.
Yes.
And then at least for me, that mindset, of you have to work hard to make money is hard to get over. To realize that you can make money off of other people's efforts is kind of like a explosion in the brain, totally. I assume.
Totally, and one of the things that I kind of discovered along the way was I used to always think I had my own business, okay? But in reality, if I was to be honest, I owned my own job. So I didn't necessarily have to report to an employer in another settings.
You were your own employee.
Yes.
Wow.
If I didn't show up, I wasn't getting a paycheck, okay? And I think it's an area that we get tripped up on because, most of the times when we venture off into something, we probably start off self-employed. But if we don't figure out that, hey, if I'm not creating processes and I'm not working towards how do I earn income without being there, you can get stuck in that situation forever. I've seen a lot of people, and I was stuck there for many, many, many years.
Wow. So let's fast forward to today. Now you're the lead generation specialist. This is your niche. You work with entrepreneurs, business owners, people that are in network marketing, in relationship marketing, opportunity marketing. Share a little bit about what it is that you do now.
Yeah, so lead generation specialist, what I do in our programs is give people access to systems and tools for being able to find people. So we have a very simple process, and we solve the problem of where do I find people that I can approach for my business and my opportunity. Okay, and then we have a simple training process of how to start those conversations, how to make a proper invitation to have someone take a look at your business, your presentation, to learn about whatever you're up to. And I find people get stuck there, where do I go? And that's what we do. So that's what we focus on, and then we have a lot of funnel processes and training and coaching and live events and different things for people that want to go to the next level in their business.
Got it. So you basically, number one, connect people to potential prospects that can potentially buy their products or services or join their opportunity, whatever that is. And you also teach them the most effective way to communicate and engage, because that's usually the biggest challenge, right? People are scared, don't know what to say, how to approach, and there is a really simple process if you know how to do it and you've had the training, and that's what you guys do.
100%. You know, and most of the times, what I find is in all areas of our life, it's just a belief limitation. So most people come from a place of like, leads is a lack. I don't have enough, I don't have any, okay? And that's where people live. But in reality, people are everywhere and they're continuing to get easier and easier and easier to find. The real problem is it's not that I don't have people. The real problem is I don't have an effective way to engage with those people.
Wow.
Once you get that, it actually shifts. I have unlimited leads. I have unlimited opportunities, and I'm constantly tweaking better ways to connect and engage with the ideal people.
Wow, that's such a really good point, because there's how many billion people in the world? Like, so when you're like, oh, there's not enough leads, it's like, wait a second. Like there's enough fish in the sea. You might just not have the right bait or the right fishing equipment to get out there and get connected 100%. With those. Wow, that's a huge point. So I know that you have programs, you have courses, you have done for you services. Share a little bit about how this works.
Yeah, so from the beginning, someone can literally come in, no matter what stage they are in their business. They could be just getting started today. They can come in, get access to our lead program and all the scripts and the trainings and the tools to support them so they can go through that process. And then they can advance to some of our done-for-you services where we actually reach out to the people for you and we warm them up before we pass them off over to you.
Wow.
So it saves a lot of that outreach time, okay? And there's a psychology to the outreach, because there is a little bit of a wax on, wax off, like the Karate Kid back in the days, that people need to be able to experience so that when they have their systems and processes fine-tuned, they can operate better. And we didn't want to miss that in our education. So all the way through, and then so leads, inviting, presenting, follow-up. In reality, I don't care what business that you're in, we are in the inviting, presenting, follow-up, and getting people started. And getting people started could be duplicating yourself, building a team internally or externally, okay, that you can now scale and go to those other levels.
That's amazing. So you have do-it-yourself services done with you and done for you.
Correct.
And then you also have coaching and training, right? Where you give mentorship and people who really want to take it to the next level, not just use your systems and processes, but really have strategic plan of actions for their particular business or industries. Talk about a little bit about your coaching and mastermind programs.
Yeah, so basically with the coaching and the mastermind, it's to kind of we're always working on the fundamentals, but we're always working to refine it, scale it, and deal with the next limiting belief. Because we never really get rid of limiting beliefs. We just literally just clean up one so that we can get to another one. And if we get lackadaisy a little bit, I've found that some of those limiting beliefs come back. You know, so this is a process that you
like going to the gym. You stop going to the gym.
You use it or lose it.
Wow.
So that's the process. And then, strategic partnerships, like, with people like yourself as experts in their field in branding and all that stuff, being able to collaborate. And you need that because, again, being a solo, owned my job for so many years, I got stuck in like, how do I collaborate and bring a team in and different things? And it's a challenge, but that's where, being able to get to the masterminds and be able to network and be able to see, hey, I need a guy for this, and you've been using this guy for 3 years. Well, that saves me 5 years to find him. Okay, so that's invaluable for speed. If that's important to you, if you want to go to next level faster, that's the way to do it.
Now let's talk about a little bit of the community you've created, because obviously you have lots of people that have taken your programs and your courses and your trainings, but then you've also created this community where people come together and you do these events throughout the year, and you bring in speakers and you bring joint venture partners and other service providers that provide needs to your target market. Share a little bit about how you've created that community and how the events work.
Yeah, so grassroots, by me being a good student, showing up to these events, connecting with people in powerful ways, following up and building relationships, that naturally led. And then as being a student sitting in a seat through someone's event and saying, wow, I would love to give this same experience to my people as well. And I can kind of follow. So a lot of events shifted for me where I was going there and I was just watching everything that was happening behind the scenes. I'm taking notes. And like literally didn't spend too much time on what was actually being taught at the event. And I was just there to try to figure out, how do I copy this?
Wow. And then you pull them all together and created your own.
Yes.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Well, let's talk about your chapter in the Drive to Success. Share a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I actually go into detail about, starting off from Trinidad, poor country, and why I moved to the United States and some of the challenges that we had in my home life. And I kind of get deep on some of the crashes, okay, and expand on a lot of the things I just talked a little bit about. So that's what's covered there. And then I share the transition of like, what did it really take for me to actually have that breakthrough? Okay, to that early on success to say, there's something here. Because if you can't get that quick win, man, it's sometimes you get stuff, and I just see so many people give up very quickly. So that's what's covered in the Drive to Success.
I love it. I love it. Now let's talk a little bit about giving back, because I know you serve a lot in your church. You do things with the summer camps and the kids. You have a lot of kids, right? You want to share a little bit about that and why giving is important?
Yeah, so I'll start with my kids. I have 5 girls. I would say 6 because cousin Samantha lives with us and I consider. So I'm a girl dad. And I learned a lot from girls, from watching them grow up to my wife being a girl. Okay, so I think that's really helped me with business and whatnot. And having that feminine power in my life, being blessed with that, had softened me up to like, how do I serve and give? Because a lot of women and girls naturally just have that. Yeah. And thankful for my wife for, impressing upon me. And through our church, there was opportunities to actually get involved with the youth and the teens. And we work with foster parents and different things as well. And I found that, hey, if you get addicted to the process of adding value wherever you go and bringing value and bringing people up, then service is going to come natural. These opportunities are here, so I'm a big believer of that. And a lot of times through a stretch in service, I actually learn more about myself. So I don't know, it's this weird selfish thing that happens that I'm giving with no expectation I'm getting more. So it's a weird thing.
Well, I love the concept of leading through service, because that's the most powerful thing, and I love that. So I thank you so much for being on the show. And if our audience wants to connect with you, if they want to learn about your done-for-you services or your scripting and how to connect with more people and bring in a community and be part of your community or get a copy of the book, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so the best way to connect with me, whether it's social media or just to check out any of our programs and upcoming events and stuff like that, or even call or text, is the best way to connect with me is my personal website, Ryan Gunness, Gunness with a G, 360.com.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Truly appreciate you.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Today's Premier Experts. I'm your host, Ray Perez, reminding you to never leave for tomorrow what you can do today and always stay true to your brand.